This was insane to witness as the New York Knicks game ended with a little bit of a fight between Donte DiVincenzo and none other than Rick Brunson after the New York Knicks defeated the Timberwolves 115 to 110 in the preseason, keeping their perfect preseason record. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris and Dariel here, and we're going to jump right into the video because the New York Knicks, they just beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, and obviously this is a huge game with the Karl-Anthony Towns trade being fairly recent. Towns going out there having a phenomenal showing, and then also Donte DiVincenzo being on the other side of things. And he was chirping while shooting free throws. And then after the game ended, it appeared that he got in kind of an argument and nearly a fight with Jalen Brunson's dad and assistant coach of the New York Knicks, Rick Brunson. Dariel, this was insane to see happen, as obviously we know the Villanova connection. We know what that's like. We understand how much this mattered to so many of them when the Knicks went out and made the Mikal Bridges trade. It eventually did lead to DiVincenzo getting traded in the Towns trade. But it was something that, at least for a moment, was very exciting. And now it looks like we're getting a different, way different view of the Nova Knicks, as the Nova Knick who was traded away, it seems like he's getting chippy. He's got no time wasted making the Knicks one of his rivals.
Yeah, so literally right before we started recording this, like, you sent a message to the group chat and you said that DiVincenzo and Rick Brunson got into a fight, and I'm just over here like super confused because as soon as the game ended, I turned off the TV. So I don't know, was it on TV? Was it live on air? Like, how did you see it?
Yeah, so a part of it was live on air, and essentially Rick Brunson, that
Right.
is trying to like walk up to them because Donte DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, they were talking after the game. Naz Reid was hanging out in the same area as them. Naz Reid did go to college at the same time and was very good at LSU. So there's a world where those guys all kind of know each other from being the same class, or most of them being the same draft class. And then Donte said something. He said, "I was talking trash to you," and that must have been to Rick Brunson. He was saying it, and it didn't seem like he was saying it in the most joking of manners. He sounded like he meant it, and then during the game, he looked over, and it was unclear if he was yelling to Tibbs or Brunson or Jalen Brunson, and it became this thing of, it sounded like what happened is DiVincenzo said, "Yo, Tibbs, thanks for trading me," given Tibbs doesn't make the trades. He's like, "This is what happens when I run the show," essentially. And he's just saying, "Yeah, I'm way better now that I can run the show," just a few games into it. And look, I get it, and I'm happy that DiVincenzo can go somewhere and play somewhere else and play well. I mean, and he had a solid game, 15 points, 7 rebounds. 15 points, 6 for 11, 2 for 5 from 3. That sounds exactly like a Donte DiVincenzo stat line from last season also. So he might just be chirping, might be trying to just light a fire up. Donte DiVincenzo does get into a lot of trash talk. I mean, he was the first one getting ready to fight Joel Embiid, getting ready to fight Miles Turner. So DiVincenzo is just a chippy guy, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, during the game, I remember that I think it was in the first half where Donte was at the free throw line and he was like chirping at someone towards the bench, but we couldn't really tell who it was. But I didn't really make anything of it. I thought it was just like casual talk, and NBA players, they do talk a little trash, so I didn't really make anything of it. But now you're telling me that there was a little altercation after the game. I don't know. I guess what it all boils down to is Donte feels away. Donte feels away that he got traded, and he should, because of the way that he played for us last season, and then all the expectations prior to the trade. Everybody was looking towards the Villanova Knicks. Everybody was looking towards, wow, this is gonna be an amazing chemistry that we're gonna see on the floor between Mikal, Josh, Jalen, and Donte. Donte was gonna be a part of that, and then right before the season starts, he's part of the trade that brings Cat here. So if I was Donte, I would definitely be feeling a certain way as well. And it looks like Donte is feeling a certain way, and he's expressing his frustration. Now, I don't know exactly what the altercation was between him and Rick Brunson, but I think, like, deep down, I think Donte is definitely mad about it, and he has every right to. I mean, as far as the game itself, something that I definitely want to harp on is Cat's play. So Cat played today, ended the game with 16 points, 16 rebounds, 5 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 6 from three-point land. But when I want to talk about how Cat mixed it up. This is what I've been saying in all of the videos that I've been putting out individually. This is what I said in the duo that we did last week, is Cat is known to be like a three-point shooting big man now. He doesn't really showcase his skills and his talent. And in today's game, I felt like he did a little bit better of a job at that, especially going to the rim. Like, there was a play where he almost threw it down on Naz Reid's face. He didn't complete the dunk, but he got the foul called. In the first half, he had Rudy Gobert by the three-point land. He pump faked, drove right by him, and it was like a really tough and one that the ref didn't call, but he finished the bucket. But this is this is what I want to see from Cat. I just want to see him mix it up a little bit, and I don't want him to depend on that three-point shot. Now, again, this is preseason. I know the level of competition is not at an all-time high. It's not very high even, but this is just like a sign that I definitely like that I saw. I'm still iffy on the trade. I don't think I'm ever going to be convinced until maybe we hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. I think that'll be the only time where I'll be convinced that we made the right trade. But I'm still gonna be watching the season. I'm gonna be a little weary about it. But as far as Cat tonight, he played well in my eyes. Your boy Precious Achiuwa cannot catch a basketball still. And what'd you see from tonight's game?
I mean, on the subject of Towns, I think what it is he's playing center again. He's not playing the four, and clearly the Timberwolves liked what they had, being able to hide Towns on defense a little bit more. The Knicks don't need to hide Karl-Anthony Towns on defense. I mean, first of all, he had 3 steals tonight. But outside of that, it's the fact of having OG and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and Deuce McBride. You have a bunch of great on-ball defenders. I mean, OG can defend any position on any part of the court. He's a phenomenal, versatile defender. And the Knicks don't need some rim protector to anchor this defense because how good their defense is. Otherwise, it's not something that's a big concern. And what we've seen is where Towns is getting one-on-ones at the rim. There was no world where Towns was going to get a one-on-one at the rim last year. Jaden McDaniels last season shot 31.7% from 3. Rudy Gobert obviously doesn't shoot jump shots whatsoever. Towns, I don't want to say he was forced out onto the perimeter, but it was a lot harder for him to get inside and score in one-on-one matchups. With a lineup like this that's out here, it's really hard to double-team Karl-Anthony Towns if he's going downhill because of the fact that you have shooters all around him. He's getting to play center, and clearly it's leading to more one-on-one matchups, and he's getting to score at all 3 levels. He's not really he's not going to be shooting as many shots from beyond the arc last year that he is this year because of the fact he's going to get these one-on-ones. And yeah, things will change a bit when Mitchell Robinson comes back, but they're still going to use Towns as a center at points. Mitch is, once he's back, he's going to be on a minutes restriction. It's going to be a while before we see Mitchell Robinson potentially in the starting lineup to begin with. And yeah, I mean, in general, good team basketball. The Knicks are clearly getting it together. The loss of Julius Randle and DiVincenzo clearly not hurting the Knicks very much. And
it's preseason. It's preseason, so
it is. Like, of what we've seen, though. Like, obviously, it'll matter more in 8 months from now. But, like, on a general sense of this is what we're looking at, the team's 3-0. They're looking like they're still figuring it all out, but
yeah,
it's coming along fast. Obviously, the Knicks are a much different team. Like, imagine a year ago hearing the Knicks starting lineup is going to be Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns. When last season, you have one guy there right now who's still starting in Brunson. Around him last season, the starting lineup was Brunson, Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Mitch is the only one on the team, and it's unclear if he's even going to be starting once he gets back in 2025. So it's curious. I think on the topic of Donte, I don't think his role is going to grow that much in Minnesota. Like, we've seen him take a similar amount of shots that he took in New York. I really do think Donte is just someone who likes to be chippy, and I'm saying this in a positive light towards him. The man likes to talk trash, and clearly there was something behind it. I imagine it was in the heat of will to compete and all that. It's probably not personal. It'd be really shocking if he had a problem with Rick Brunson, especially because he was talking to the rest of the Nova guys after the game. But last season, DiVincenzo put up 15.5 points, shot 44% from the field, shot 40% from 3, 46 or 44.6% from the corner. Donte DiVincenzo is someone who is going to matter to this Minnesota Timberwolves team a lot. And we saw him play point guard against the Knicks. The Knicks are going to have to figure out how to guard good teams like this that are, first of all, Anthony Edwards went on a rampage, and he does that. And they're going to have to figure out how to guard teams like the Timberwolves that have a lot of guys on the perimeter when if there's a team that has a skilled big man, you're leaving Towns on an island, which is where things get worrisome. And as we said, very good game from him tonight. Didn't overly foul, 3 fouls in 29 minutes. It's not great, it's not bad. And then getting 16 points, 16 rebounds, shooting 2 for 6 from 3, 5 for 13 from the field. It worked well. I'm interested to see how the Knicks defense, how it schemes out as time goes on this season.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off what you're saying, saying how you're interested in seeing how these Knicks are going to defend these teams. And something else that I saw specifically in the first half was there was a moment where in the first half where it was Josh Hart, OG, and Mikal Bridges out there, and they were switching everything. And for a preseason game, the switches looked very, I don't know how to say it, maybe intentional. And it just gave me a glimpse of like what just a perimeter defense that we have for the regular season and in the playoffs. And if we're going to be honest, like, we need to take out the Boston Celtics. In my opinion, I think the Boston Celtics, they have a lot of motivation behind this season, which is crazy because they just won a championship. But with the whole Olympic stuff with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I think, and people aren't really talking about them. They're talking about Denver, they're talking about the Knicks, they're talking about Philly. So I feel like Boston, they have a lot of motivation, and someone has to take them out. And I'm just picturing Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum being guarded by OG or Mikal, and just the switchability that we have. That's gonna do wonders for us. And then you have Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, like being able to not have that responsibility and just being able to really give it their all on the offensive end. And I'm just very interested to see what this season is gonna hold, how the season is gonna play out. I mean, maybe we should talk a little bit about, besides the whole Donte chippiness stuff, just Donte and Julius Randle coming back to the Garden as not as Knicks players. When I saw Cassidy Hubbard give that interview with Julius Randle, man, I was a little sad, bro, because I'm a big critiquer of Julius Randle, but I really, really, really wanted to give him this season, at least half a season, to see what it would look like. And Cassidy Hubbard in the interview saying that, like, you're part of the reason why the Knicks, the organization, has been turned around, how the respect level has been turned around. And yeah, I got to give it to Julius Randle, man. Like, I really wanted to see him give him the opportunity to really just see what the ceiling of a Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson team could be. So just wanted to say salute to Julius Randle. It sucks that you're not a Knick anymore, but thank you for everything you've done for us. How did you feel seeing Julius Randle and Donte back at the Garden, not as a Knick?
I mean, Julius not playing, I think, took some of the weirdness away from it, for me at least. Like, seeing Julius in a jersey that's not a Knicks jersey, it's been so long. I mean, it's been 5 years. It's going to be weird to see him in that Timberwolves jersey, the way it was kind of weird to see Donte in that. But it's not like every year began as, like, and Donte DiVincenzo's obviously here, but Julius, he was here for a long time. And I still think the Timberwolves made a massive mistake because I don't see how this team works out at all. There's not a lot of court spacing for them in general in that starting lineup. I mean, Edwards is a great shooter and Conley's a good shooter, but McDaniels, as I said earlier, 31.7% from 3 last season, and Gobert not shooting, and now you have Julius, who shot 31% from 3 last year. There's no shooting in that front court, man, and I think the Timberwolves made a massive error. The more time that goes on, I think it just becomes evident that Julius was going to want too much money to ever stay with the Knicks, so I'm completely unbothered by this trade at this point. I think it's more just, it's weird, but
unbothered?
I'm not really bothered by the trade at all. I mean,
those
at
are
the end of
strong
the day,
words.
they were going to lose Julius. He was going to hit free agency and either sign for more money elsewhere or want to sign and trade or something. Like, it's just not a perfect world. And
I know this is a hard question, but do you think, and I know this is a hard question, but what do you think the ceiling of a Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby team was compared to the team now? Which one has a higher ceiling to you?
I think the Towns one has a higher ceiling and lower floor. I think it could go way worse, and this could end really poorly, or I think they could just win the finals. I think the Knicks with Julius could have won the finals also. I think Julius is massively underrated. I think that this team gives him a better chance to win the finals because the amount of shooting on this roster, plus the fact that you still have the defense to make up for the fact that his defense has gotten better over years, but he's not some elite defender.
Of course not. Yeah, man. Yo, I really want to say the Karl-Anthony Towns trade has a higher ceiling, but I just can't. I don't trust him. I don't trust him, man. And Jalen Brunson can't do it by himself. Like Mikal Bridges, we haven't really seen him since like the Phoenix days, but he was a role player. He's a role player now with the Knicks, but I'm sorry to say, man, I just don't have a good feeling about this trade. I don't have a good feeling, and I feel like it's going to be a repeat of a Karl-Anthony Towns saga of just like playoffs come around, he's not really showing up, and he's probably going to be one of, if not the biggest reasons why we're not going to be advancing further into the playoffs. So obviously, I'm not a fortune teller. He could miraculously turn it around. Everything could click for him this season, and we'll see what happens. But I still have a bad feeling in my gut.
Yeah, I think that when you think about the fact that Julius Randle was both absent from the playoffs for multiple years or injured,
right,
harming playoff potential, I'm not bothered. That's why I'm not bothered by this trade. Like, yes, Towns has a history of being worse in the playoffs, but also he's on a team that he fits best on right now. For him, there's always the question of it being a fit issue, the him and Rudy Gobert thing. It's always weird because Towns can't move very well. Like, he just plays awkwardly. So he makes more sense at the 5. And I mean,
as far as the fit, yes, there's always been a question with Karl-Anthony Towns and the fit and the teammates around him. But I feel like the bigger question with Karl-Anthony Towns is himself. Why doesn't he produce to the level that he's capable of when the lights are on the brightest? That is what I feel trumps the whole fit. Karl-Anthony Towns not playing to his level is what's messing up his legacy, man.
Yeah, but, he's not playing poorly. It's not like he goes to the playoffs and is hot garbage.
It's not great.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
I get it. And Julius Randle,
19 points, 36% from 3, 46% from the field, pulling down 9 rebounds in his last playoff appearance the year prior. Didn't shoot well at all coming off an injury. 2022 shot 45% from 3 against Memphis, 48% from the field. He's had moments in the playoffs where he's been very good. I mean, Game 7 against the Nuggets last year led the Timberwolves in scoring that game while Anthony Edwards, I think, missed over 20 jump shots. I think the more I see Towns in 3 preseason games, so obviously it's the greatest sample size ever, and we should totally just believe that Towns is the GOAT now. But in all seriousness, I think Towns has a terrible PR team as far as what I've seen so far in literally 3 games that don't count towards the schedule. So,
Bodega Cat.
The Bodega Cat.
That's my favorite nickname of his that I've seen on the internet. Yeah, it seems like you're a lot more. The more and more you see Cat, it seems like you're a lot more comfortable with the trade, and I'm the complete opposite. The more and more I see Cat, the more and more I'm just like, yo, this is great, but I'm not gonna start really caring until April 16th. Everything you do in the regular season is cool. That's great. I know I've seen it all your career. But when April 16th comes around, I better see this, and I better see it just ramp it up a little bit. So I guess my opinion is I'm not really going to voice my opinion until April 16th, and we'll see what happens, which is a long way. But
that's fair. I want to see what he's like with Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. So, hopefully.
Yo, you and these props. What the hell? These props are just coming out of nowhere, dog.
Jalen Brunson DoorDash.
Hey, he went to the locker room towards the end of the game. Did he come back out or?
He came back out he didn't play after that, but he was back out there after.
On the bench?
Yeah, there's a world versus he had to go to the bathroom, or something might have tightened up.
All right. Yeah.
Something would have came out.
All right, cool. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video. For Chris and I, we're going to sign off. But, of course, before we sign off, I got to give you the Knicks Digest sign-off. So, Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. The deuce is loose for co-MVP. Taj Gibson, even though you're on the Charlotte Hornets, Taj Gibson still for president. And Mikal Bridges for Defensive Player of the Year. But until next time, Chris and I are signing out, and we'll check you out on the next video. Peace.